Hello, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. Do you think it is ever going to be possible to be fully free, maybe fully awake, as long as we are still holding on to fear, as long as we are still believing the fear suggestions that the programming has filled us with? So the question is it possible to be free as long as we are afraid? I would say, as long as we are afraid, we are actually not free because there is something in our outer environment. It could also be internal in our bodies, of course, but there is still something that holds us in a grip. And being in a grip is not very liberating, is it? So, fear is really what is holding the biggest grip on our planet, and every little person, cell, everything in it that is identified with that. So, how do we get out of that? It's not just one clear answer for that, obviously. I have done a lot of videos about fear that you can go back. I'll post one here. And there is a way out of this, but it is an ongoing way. It's not just one time and then it's over. We need to keep identifying how and where we let ourselves be gripped in fear. Now, one thing that I find really important, and I see that, of course, with my clients all the time, that there is this grip fear that it's not okay to be who we are. We can't just be our full expression because looking back into our lives from childhood on, we were always reminded that we could not just be ourselves. I think things are changing a lot these days, but for those of us in my generation, say plus minus however many years, we did grow up where we were told to be quiet. You can see it, you can't touch it. Don't argue with me. Do as I tell you to. And who do you think you are? That's a very Danish one, by the way, which is where I'm from. Those were just programmed and planted into us, and that made us live in this grip of fear of being our natural full expression. And that is scary. There is probably nothing more scary than not being yourself. We may not notice that fear so much, but we do notice the impact of it. We are always living in this condensed state where we have to be nice, we have to do what others say, we have to be a people pleaser, we have to pretend we are better than we are or better than others are. Those are all the programming that just keep us in this pressure to keep who we are down, invisible, and literally to the point where we do not know who we are. I've heard it many times. I have said it myself many years ago. I might even still say it today in a certain context. But basically, most people do not know who they are. They think they are the programming in their head, and they think they need to be what others want them to be. So the whole life experience becomes like a measuring yourself with outer experiences and try to fit yourself in there so you will stay safe and with a false sense, it's a false sense of safety and belief that you don't need to be afraid now, as long as you do as others want you to do or be. So this is big. This is very big because under that pressure, here you are. You're beautiful, shining, um, radiant, unique, weird expression of your life force that can never, ever be wrong. You cannot be wrong in being who you are. But because the things we have gone through in our lives, and I know we all have gone through so much that proved that we could not be ourselves, that it was not safe to speak our truth, to be who we are. And that's why we have become so identified with this identity, this separate identity from who we are. So we basically are wearing kind of a mask, and then we have become identified with the mask, and we have no clue who we are without the mask. I see it all the time. It's big. It's huge when you start cracking the mask to find out what's underneath. And why it's so hard is because we're so out of touch with it. And the fear that when we do express it, whether we do know it consciously or unconsciously, but there's the fear like when I express myself, I'm going to be put down again. I'm going to be squashed or told I can't be that, or told to be quiet or toned down, all that stuff. And so we live in that state of like, I don't know who I am, but I am going to pretend I am this because then at least I will fit into this false reality. But we are done with the false reality. Would you agree? Are you done with the false reality? Are you done pretending you are something that you're not? Are you done people pleasing, pretending you're loving and kind and spiritual so that other people will like you and accept you? Or are you willing to go underneath and say, hell no, this is not who I am. I don't want to be pretend that I'm loving all the time, or that I like everybody, or that I want to please everyone. No, the only reason we do these roles is so that we will fit in to this false matrix. My friends, the false matrix is crumbling. I remember I have a video on that. And it will not serve you or anybody else to hold on to it. It's going to crumble. Your whole identity is going to crumble. And it's going to go down with the crumbling of the false matrix. I don't know what that's going to look like. I have no idea, but I just know that they're part of the same false thing, and it's all going to crumble. So you might as well start pulling yourself out of that whole structure that is crumbling. You might as well start pulling yourself out of that and at least get curious about, well, who am I without that? What am I without that? And I see so many, taking on new identities when they let go of one, then they take on another one that maybe looks better, feels better for a while. And that's all fine if that's the steps you need to take to get out of it. And if it works, that's fantastic. We are coming to a point where I think it will support us all to really consciously choose to find out who we are and start living as that. It's not easy. I think that we all need somebody to reflect that back to us. Somebody who can actually feel, sense, tune into, receive the truth of who you are. And why am I saying that? It's because it is something that happens a lot when I work with my clients. Somehow I just know that part in them. I feel, see, sense it. And I can help them connect with that, their true self, themselves, with my mirroring it back, because there has never been a mirror so they could actually see who they are. That's what we grew up in. There was no mirror, there was just our own programmed projection of a false image in a false matrix. That's what we have lived in and as and through. And let it go. It's time to let it crumble. Don't try and save what's crumbling. It's like this big building, it's coming down. There's no point running up on the 11th floor and try and save it if the whole thing is shaking and coming down. And that is what we are experiencing now, in smaller bites for some, in bigger bites for others, where literally everything is crumbling. So we need to pull ourselves out of that so we don't go down with it. So instead, who we truly are, when we give ourselves to that, we align with that. And that alignment with who we are is the new earth. It is that simple, and it is not simple to realize who we are. But it makes it a lot easier to realize that when we have somebody mirroring that. It is, I see it all the time. And then that part gets sparked in the other. And then there's going to be the doubt and not sure, and how do you know? And, no, that can't be true. Yeah, that all needs to come up. That's the old paradigm in us. That's our old identity that needs to rise to the surface so that it can't push us down anymore. So if you're being seen, if you have somebody who can actually see you, you might notice if there's doubt and wondering that comes up, you go, oh, there it is. Let it come up. It's better it's coming up and you're conscious of it than it's unconscious in you and it's pressing you down. It's a big difference there. So allowing that, your true self, your true divine expression, it's living under that pressure. And it impacts, the breathing, the body, the tightness, the jaws, everything. We all have it. We've all lived in that false reality based on fear and based on maybe more like terror to actually be who we are. Because we remember as a child, right? We were being ourselves and we were being alive and loud and everything. And we were just told, damp it down. So now is a good time to choose to step out of that and start finding out who you truly are. A hint is, who do you want to be? What do you long to be? See, I always come back to longing. I say that almost every video, but this is definitely part of my sharing in this world. That is that connection with the deep longing in the heart and our divine expression. That is the longing is the pressure we feel from the divine wanting to express itself now and not be suppressed anymore. So we go from suppression to expression. And that is where we many times need that outer mirror to say, yeah, that's it. That's it. And you go like that? No, that can't be me. I'm this, tight little scared whatever. It's like, no, 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 no. That's it. It's still here. It's never gone away. And then you can start being curious and find out, well, who am I then? That's where exploration begins. That's when the embodiment of it begins. That's when you start fully taking in and letting out who you are. Now, my friend, you are the new earth without the suppression. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Well, it's not, because we're very, very identified with that false identity. So it takes time to learn to trust this, to keep going back and feeling it, to keep feeling that how this is no separate from that, what can't be seen. The what is it, heaven on earth? It's, we can't see it, can't see, hear, taste, touch it. We can sense it because we long for it. So you always go to the longing and give it your all. Give it your all. That's where we make ourselves available. And then each one of us will actually experience who and what we have always been, but we had forgotten it. And the more you can have that mirror reflection, you're welcome to, reach out for support from me. This is what I love to do, dismantling that whole structure that we're not, and get in touch with who we are. The more you are in touch with who you are, you're shining in a light and energy that helps dissolve that structure that is not who you are. So it's really good to work on it from both sides, realizing who you are, let your light shine through this layer that you're not, which you are becoming more and more aware of, and therefore willing to let it be softened and dissolved by your own light and loved, because love is the light. It's not separate. So instead of fighting it or hating it or judging it, you just gently go like, oh, I see. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I don't really want to play that game anymore. So you just gently let it go. Don't need to fight it anymore. So being seen in your true essence will help you let go of fear. It's not even that you have to let go of it. It kind of just happens naturally. When somebody is seen, and I usually help them be present with what comes up when I mirror back to them what I see, sense in them as their truth. Learning to embrace that and be that more consciously. That is where we're going. And when more of us do that, we start shining a greater light. And that again helps dissolve our own shadow that's been covering who we are. And it also helps dissolve others' shadow. But one thing I see all the time with my client mostly, when they let themselves be seen, that's important. We have to be willing to let ourselves be seen. Also, seeing what has been preventing it, but we have to come to a point where we can let ourselves be seen, and then everything starts relaxing. So, because that whole structure, that whole false sense of self, is not there to tell us, you can't be that, it's not real, yada, yada, yada. That simply melts away when you receive being seen. You can do this. We can do this. We can do it together. You may have other people where you can make that a conscious, maybe exercise or playtime, whatever, challenge to see what comes up. when we're really being seen by somebody who can see, because as you probably know, you want it to be authentic, right? So, and you will feel it. You will feel it. And then you start to receive that. And then it comes back to life. All right, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please reach out if you need this. And also, please join me the first Tuesday of January. I think it's January 6th for my next uh, online gathering where we definitely touch into this. Other things too, but it's really about bringing our true essence and our true calling back online. All right, I'll see you again soon.